Okay, so I was asked by someone, I think it was a comment on YouTube about persistence in dating, right? Like, should you try more than once to get a girl on a date if she's not responding to you, is responding, but she's too busy or she's flaking on you, whatever, right? How much should you try with a girl? Should you have the mentality of, if she flakes on me once, she's done, and I'm gonna cut her off and be really extreme about it? Or should you be a dog who just never gives up? You text her every week. So I'm gonna go over some different scenarios where I think persistence might be okay, and then when I think it's a waste of time and even builds bad habits, right? So I'll give you the general answer. If she's not giving you anything, like she's not even responding to your texts, I wouldn't, I wouldn't try again to text her like, hey, what's up? How are you? You want to grab a coffee sometime? More than like one extra time. So, let's say you meet her, you get her phone number, you text her, she never responds. Maybe you text her one more time. There's no harm in that, right? Is it a sign of interest that she didn't respond the first time? Of course not, right? Everyone has time to respond to text. I don't care how busy you are, right? Elon Musk found a way to have like 10 baby mamas or something like that, right? And he's the most busy guy you could ever imagine. So nobody on earth is too busy for your texts if they really want to respond. You just weren't a priority. Now, do I think that you should expect to be a girl's number one priority the moment you meet her because you're the prize and you're amazing and you're this really special guy? And if she doesn't, show you the respect that you deserve because you're the fucking shit, then she's a, if she doesn't, she's a bit, no, like, you gotta be realistic. You are a stranger, right? Especially if this is a cold approach thing. Things change about social circle, like if you meet her at your college or through friends or, at a house party. That changes the dynamic. I can't fucking speak today. The dynamic a little bit. But generally, if you're getting nothing from her, I wouldn't try more than once, honestly. But if she's responding, like if she's actually replying to your texts, and you're getting the whole like rigmarole, oh, sorry, I didn't see your text, blah, 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 I'm doing okay, but I'm a bit busy, da, da, da. Okay, you can try again in like 2 weeks, and then in 4 weeks. Like, what I would advise is it's like an exponential growth in how long you wait until you message her again. So you get her phone number, you message her, she responds, she's like, I'll let you know. And then she never lets you know, and then it's like 2 weeks later. Okay, you can try again. Hey, what's up? How are you? And I generally advise you do like a stagger method. So if you asked her out the first time and then she like flaked or said she was too busy, the next time you text her, just have a conversation. This is something that I go over in my texting book. And if you're interested in the texting book, it's in the description below. But you just have a conversation where you don't ask her out, right? You want to like put off the pressure, right? You don't want to feel like you're just constantly like, hey, you want to go? Hey, you want to go out? Hey, you want to go out? Hey, you want to go out? You just have a conversation like, hey, what's up? How are you? Da da da. What's going on? This is what's going on in my life. Have a nice little conversation, and then you leave it there. Then you come back later and you have a conversation, or you ask her out. And you just, go off and on and off and on. But of course, the only time you're ever going to be doing it this way, then this way, then this way is because she's responding to you somewhat actively. She's just maybe really busy, or she's out of town. She's, on vacation, whatever. But if you're not getting any responses, you shouldn't be wasting your time going after her. I really don't see the benefit in hitting her up again. I think always, no matter what, it should be like 1 week, and then you wait 2 weeks, and then you wait 1 month, and then you wait like 2 months, and then you wait like 6 months. Like, are you going to really keep a list of girls that you're going to routinely hit up over and over again? I've tried it before. I'll be honest with you. Like my stats in terms of like persistence, it's very, very low. Like if this is some random chick you just met through cold approach, the chances of you getting to see her, when she didn't respond to your first text or like go out with you the first time is very low. And the more time that passes, your chances dwindle. And I think that having too much of this persistent dog mentality, I think, can be a detriment to you, because it will train you to be essentially over invested. Because from her perspective, you're quite thirsty, right? Now, we shouldn't be overly infatuated with how one particular girl sees us, right? Like, no matter how good you are, some random chick out there is going to think you're a loser or you're a creep because you're texting her and she's not interested. Like, you can't be over obsessed with every girl thinking you're the shit. Like, you're going to get rejected, and that girl who rejects you, because of her rejection, she's basically saying, you're not worthy of being inside of me, right? Because I don't find you that attractive, or I think you're an asshole. You shouldn't be overly worried about it, but at the same time, you will be training yourself to be overly worried by constantly trying to get with her. Like, this is just a natural law that if you try really hard at something, you're going to kind of get attached to it, and it's going to look that way to her, and that's not good, right? And the reason is not because her opinion of you matters too much, but if you build this habit of being that guy who's always just constantly persisting, it might come to bite you in the ass. Like, you might meet a girl at a friend's birthday party, and you're a really persistent dog, right? And so you ask her out, and let's say she's busy, and then you text her again a week later to ask her out, and then you text her again a week and a half later to ask her out. There might come a point where she's like, okay, this guy's like too much. And then she says something to someone who's connected to your social circle, and now you have a reputation for it. It can, it could vary. It could just be, oh, he's obviously a fuckboy. He just wants to get in my pants. Or it could be, he's kind of creepy. It totally depends on how you do it and how she perceives it, right? You might not do anything wrong, but she might perceive it as like overly aggressive. So especially with social circle, this really changes the dynamic of it. You don't want to be known as that guy, right? I mean, in college, I was a fucking dog, because I was learning how this dating game works. And so I would hit girls up, pretty actively. And I learned, because I'd hear about it, like, girls would say something like, oh, he doesn't know how to take a hint. And I'm just like, okay, maybe in some situations being persistent isn't the best course of action, right? But then in other times, especially in social circle, here's the flip side of it. Social circle is a particular area where persistence might work a little bit better. Because with a girl you met through cold approach, you're just some fucking stranger. A girl who's like somewhat connected to you, like, you just being friends with someone she knows or a friend of hers gives you some sort of like validation. Like, okay, this guy's not a complete loser because he's friends with someone who I consider a friend. So he's like relatively like, vetted. And so you might find yourself in a situation 2 weeks down the line, 2 months down the line, who knows, 2 years down the line, where she changes her opinion of you. Now, what's going to change her opinion of you? Let's say she was in a relationship when you first met her. So of course she's going to reject you, and you shouldn't be chasing girls who are in relationships. But then you like check in on her, let's say 6 months later, and she's single, and you knew she was interested in you before, but she had a boyfriend. But now she's single, and she's open to seeing you. That's a situation where persistence might work, right? But it's a very niche situation, right? So you have to ask yourself when you're, pursuing a girl, like, what's the context, right? Because, college was a time where, I would go from like being completely rejected from a girl, and then 2 years later, I'm balls deep in her. Well, what happened between that time? Well, it depends, right? For me, a lot of what would happen is I made a mistake at some point here. Like one girl she wanted to fuck for sure, right? And I think we kissed, and then we were like walking outside together, and she's like, where are we going? And I didn't have the balls to say like, we're going to my place. So then eventually, I was kind of like, oh, I don't know. And then she took control, and she's like, okay, let's go to my friend's house. and we went to there, and then like I kind of just lost control of it, right? Well, I attempted to text her over the years. Let's say that, a handful of times I texted her. Like I texted her like soon after, she didn't respond, and then I texted her a couple months later, and then let's say I texted her a year later. Finally, like 2 years later, or 2.5 years later, I'd really made some big strides in my game, right? And I gained a reputation, like, the amount of girls I had slept with, like she knew who I was. Like I was very well known in my college. I wouldn't say popular. In some ways, yes, but in some ways, no. I was very, disliked by some people. Sometimes for legitimate reasons because I was an asshole, and sometimes for, bullshit reasons because they're just jealous haters or they were fed lies. Anyways, I could tell she was interested, but I was like, you know what? I'm just not going to try. Well, I walk into one of the college bars one day, and she just looks at me and she's like, "Hey, Hector." And I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And then she's like, "Come over here." I'm like, "Okay." So I go to sit down next to her, and she just lays it on thick, right? Like she has it in her mind she's going to fuck me tonight because she literally puts her hand on my leg. Like we're kind of flirting, but I'm not like super invested. Also, I was high as balls. And she puts her hand on my leg. She's like, "Hey, I'm having an after party after this. You should come over." And I'm like, "Okay." So, I go to her house and we end up fucking. And it was great. I mean, it was great sex. And what changed? What was, I wasn't really persistent. Actually, she was like the pusher of like making this happen, right? But I reciprocated. Like I was flirting with her back, obviously, right? But it was the right amount of persistence. Like I let her do the work because I knew our history. Our history was, hey, that one time we were probably about to fuck, but then I messed it up, and then like I hit you up over the years, and you weren't really that interested, and then blah 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 blah, right? So if I get another chance with you, I'm gonna play it cool because the last time I was the one kind of chasing you. So I need to invert the situation where I'm going to be interested enough, but like not just on the, like almost on the border of like, whatever. A little bit more interested than that, and let you kind of do the work because you need to make up for me being the one who was kind of chasing after you. So you have to chase after me. And the way that you do that is very hard to describe. Like, it's an energetic thing. It's like a body language thing. It's an eye contact thing. Like, it's the difference between like, "Hey, what's up? How are you? How you been? Da da da." And like, "Hey, what's up? How are you? Oh my God, that's so nice to see you." Like the first one is I'm interested, but I'm not like super like, "Hey, I'm just foaming at the mouth to eat your pussy." But the second one is. But you want to just be like, "Hey, what's up? It's good to see you." Da da da. Like I'm being cordial and polite and maybe a little bit flirtatious, but I'm like right on that edge of I don't give a fuck. So you have to adapt how you're persisting, either in person, which is most of the time where persistence works, through social circle, when you're going to randomly run into her again. Those are the times where persistence really, really has merit, right? But it has to be done with a delicate touch because, like I said, you do some wrong moves, and then, okay, now you have the reputation of the guy who just doesn't know how to take a hint and constantly just texts girls, right? And you have to learn how to adapt. Like, how hard did I push last time, and how hard did she reject me? Like, if a girl hardcore rejects you, the next time you see her, you have to be almost cold with her. Like, maybe don't even say hi to her. Let her say hi to you, right? Because, college was where I learned all of this, right? Because, you would have times where a girl, like, hardcore rejected you, and then next time you see her, you clock her in the room, like, you know where she is, and you just totally ignore her, right? And so in her mind, if you were showing interest in her and, like, looking at her and smiling and trying to talk to her, she'd be like, "Oh, my God, this guy does not understand. I don't like him." But if you're in the room and you're not paying attention, then she's like, okay, so he's not interested in me anymore. I wasn't interested in him before, but then she sees you. But there also has to be positive things that she sees. It can't just be, oh, he's ignoring me, now I like him. That's a one-dimensional way of viewing the situation. It's, okay, he's not chasing after me, so he's not being a creep, who can't take a hint. But he's also talking to that pretty girl over there. She seems kind of interested in him. Or, like I said, I've heard things about him. I heard he fucked this girl, or he fucked this girl. Oh my God, what changed about him? Like, there has to be something that she's interested in, not just purely, oh, I rejected him, now he's not interested in me, therefore I want to suck his dick. Like, that's a factor, but it's not like gonna do all the work for you for the most part. But that's entirely dependent on this being social circle, right? Like, I have a client who has a social circle. He met up with this girl. She's kind of an influencer, and they went on one date, and then something happened, and she started spreading the rumor that he's a fuckboy, like showing girls these texts and that they went on a date. But the mistake that she made was that she's been on a date with him, so that gives him some credit. No matter what she says, it gives him some credit. And then calling him a fuckboy is kind of a compliment. That means she assumes he's getting laid. She tried to make it seem like, oh yeah, he tried to fuck me and I rejected him, but you went on a date with him, so you've already given him some credit. And then you're calling him a fuckboy, which is also giving him more credit. And what my client didn't understand, this is a positive reputation, right? But he's used to being the goody two-shoe guy. So I was like, hey man, ride this out and like just ask other girls out, like ask her friends out, right? And well, he ends up going on a date with a girl who's like in her friend group, and ends up fucking her, and now is fucking her. And I'm like, your reputation is going to skyrocket. Well, he ends up also fucking a different girl from that friend group, right? Now, they're not like super close friends. They're tangentially related, but that's all you need, right? And so now he's smashed 2 girls in this group. I'm almost positive that sooner or later, this girl who like tried to be cool by rejecting him to like boost her status is going to be very attracted to him if she hears about him smashing these girls, like 100%. But that's, and then he can be persistent in that if he sees her at a party, he can shoot a shot with her again, but he has to do it in the right way. He can't just walk up to her, right? He has to see her and go, oh, hey, what's up, da-da-da, and then she comes over and starts a conversation with him and starts kind of laying it on thick. Then he can slowly, okay, he acts like the one who has to be won over, because they both know that he heard about her talking shit about him. Now, should you completely reject this girl and say, fuck her, because she, attacked your character? You can do that. I mean, you wouldn't be in the wrong for like saying, fuck this bitch. But at the same time, like, I don't know, being balls deep in a chick who was talking shit on you is pretty good revenge too. Like there's a story in my college book. I don't sell it anymore because it's just me getting, it's a lot of really good nuggets of wisdom. I just give it to clients who I think, can really understand it. But unfortunately, it's a book of me just like fucking a bunch of girls being drunk. And I don't know if it's quite the energy I want to put out into the world. But there's a story from that college book where there was this girl who we almost hooked up, and then she was kind of crazy. And so she started spreading some rumors that were like really negative, and I was like, what the fuck? And I end up kind of getting freaked out by some of these rumors, and I'm like, okay, this girl's like kind of, I don't know, schizo, something's going on. Anyways, I do some damage control, and I talk to some people who she told some things to, and then I was like, what the fuck? Well, I end up getting back with my ex-girlfriend, who was one of the people who heard this and who was in her sorority, and we start fucking again. And people know me, and so I had a little bit of defense reputationally. Well, crazy shit. A couple months later, the summer passes, and I come back, and she's at a party there. And I just like, I'm like, stay away from me, demon, right? Like, this is the kind of girl who will get you like arrested, and this is actually a wild fucking story. Like the full details are absolutely bonkers. But essentially, she like comes up to me and she's like, "Hey, Hector," and I'm just like, I look at her and I'm like, "Go away!" Like I literally look at her, I'm like, "Go away!" And I have a friend with me, standing with me, and he's like, "What the fuck?" Like Hector's not normally an asshole to some random person telling him to go away. And she's like, "Hey, can we talk?" And I'm like, "No, like go away! Like you're you're a fucking demon." And she's like, "Hey, no, seriously, like let's talk. Like trust me, everything's okay. Like I just want to clear things up." And I'm like, "Fine." And I tell my friend, and I'm like, "Hey, bro, like you, I want you to be a witness to what's going on right now." And he's like, "Okay." He's very weirded out because he doesn't know the details of like what she had like said about me. And I was like, "Just be a witness of this, right?" And he's like, "Okay, fine." And so I say, "Okay, let's." She wants to go for a walk, and I don't want to be alone with her, right? And I'm just like, "Okay, fine, fuck it." And I'm like, "We're about to leave together. I want you to be understanding that she's the one who asked me to go." So cool. So we go for a walk, and she ends up like just basically saying, "Hey, sorry, there was a misunderstanding of how I told what went down when we were like at your place and I was on top of you and da 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 da." And I was like, "Okay." And she's like, "I'm really sorry if, people misinterpreted it. You didn't do anything wrong, da da da." And I'm like, "Okay." I mean, I knew I didn't do anything wrong, but like the way you worded it made me look like a fucking weirdo. And she's like, "No, no worries. I'm sorry, da da da." And then I'm still like kind of dating my ex-girlfriend who's her sorority sister. But she's like, I say something. Oh, she like randomly says like, "Hey, are you taking me back to your place? Because we're kind of going in the direction of my house or my fraternity house." And I'm like, "No, like, why would I be taking you back to my place?" Because I was like, "We're not doing anything." Like, I was like, "No way." Like, like I'll talk to you, but like, no fucking way. Like, you're a nuclear bomb waiting to happen. Like, clearly you got something. I think looking back, she's borderline personality disorder. But then she's like, "Well, why can't we do anything?" And I was like, "Because you're fucking crazy. Like, you're the kind of girl who's going to falsely accuse me, right?" She didn't like outright do it before. She kind of like hinted at some, getting close to that. That's what caused like the controversy. But I was like, I'm not putting myself in a situation where you will like full blown falsely accuse me. And that's what I tell her. I'm just like, "You're kind of fucking crazy. Like, I don't want to get in that situation." And then she's like, "But like, that would be really hot if we," and she like just starts like macking on me. And I'm like, "No, like, no, like, first of all, I'm dating, who's your sorority sister." And this is like a complicated fraternity sorority thing. But at the time she was a Gamma Chi, which is not technically, she's disaffiliated from the sorority in order to recruit new girls, whatever. So like technically she's not in the sorority for a couple months. And so she's like, "Well, technically I'm not. I'm a Delta Chi, or not a Delta Chi. Was it Delta Chi? No, it's like a Gamma Chi or some fucking special word." And it's been a long time. Gamma Chi, I think it was. And I was like, "This is like, what? Why are you trying to lawyer your way into my pants?" Then she ends up like grabbing me, pushing me against the wall of one of the houses we're nearby, and just starts making out with me. And that's kind of what she had said I did, that I was very aggressive in kissing her, basically. It was her, like, the way she worded it, and it made me look really bad. And I'm like, "What the fuck? Like, this is literally, like, what you said I did." And I'm like, "No, like, we're not having sex." She's like, "Come on, I really, really want to fuck you. Like, I want you to fuck the shit out." And like, I was like, "What the fuck is going on?" Well, anyways, I end up, I end up making a deal with her that she has to, in front of a witness, like tell me she's gonna go and fuck me, and then also, I'm gonna videotape her like consenting, like I'm going to record her on a video saying like, "Hey, I'm about to have sex with me," and da 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 da. And she ends up saying yes. So we go to the friend, she does it, and then I take her back home, and then we make a video. I still have the video. Like, when was this? I have it saved in multiple formats. Fuck, when was this? 2014? So yeah, 11 years later, I still have this video. It's kind of funny because I'm shit-faced drunk. Like, I am plastered, and I'm like slurring my words. And I'm just like, "Oh, say my name," and then this. And she's like, "Okay." She was actually like relatively sober. So it's kind of weird that everything was reversed. Anyways, it's a crazy fucking story, and I hope I didn't just butcher it. I tried to give the abridged version. But I end up fucking her brains out. Like, I end up just smashing her to pieces. Like, I end up, like, fucking her in the ass. Like, at one point, like, we're fucking, and then, like, I go to put my finger in her ass, and she, like, moans, and I'm like, do you like that? And she's like, I love anal. She's like, I like it better than normal sex. And I'm like, okay. And so I just, I start fucking her in the ass, and she's just, like, fucking moaning and screaming and loving it. And I wreck her asshole, and I'm just, like, pounding her. And then we go to I was moving out of the one room to the president's room because I had got elected president. And so I go to my new room, and then I bend her over the fucking sink, and I'm, and then I start raw dogging her because I'm a fucking retard. I ask her if she's on birth control. She says yes. So I just start raw dogging her. Like, I'm fucking retarded, okay? You got to understand. I was also really drunk, but I'm also just an idiot. Like, I shouldn't be in this situation. I shouldn't be having sex with this girl. And so I'm just raw dogging her on my sink, and her head is, like, hitting the fucking sink every time I fucking thrust into her. And she's just loving it. Like, she just likes how rough and, like, animalistic this is. And then she starts, like, I tell her, I bet her that she can't deep throat me because I'm too big. And she's like, yeah, I can fuck deep. I'm like, okay, well, if you don't, then I get to come on your face. And she's like, deal. And this bitch, like, takes my fucking dick, and she just, like, rams her head into it. Like, grabs my cheeks and goes, and she couldn't do it. So I end up busting all over her fucking face. And she's, like, fucking spits, like, dripping. It was hot as fuck, right? Very, very good sex. Now, is that better than just saying, like, fuck this bitch, like, screw you for, like, being a cunt? That's a very extreme version, right? A girl just rejecting you is whatever. This girl, like, was much, much worse. It was definitely better than that. Like, I'm glad I did it. It was amazing. First of all, it was great sex. And, shit, I mean, I can't imagine better revenge than, like, hollowing out her ass and just, like, smashing her so hard, and she's enjoying getting fucked against the fucking porcelain sink. Like, yeah, I mean, well, I think that was better revenge than, just saying, fuck this bitch, if she put dirt on my name. Now, everyone else's mileage may vary. I wouldn't say you should try and fuck a girl because that's the better revenge because she rejected you, because that might end up making you just get even more rejected, right? Like, you have to actually be able to get a girl who rejected you and persist and da-da-da. So things are complicated, right? Things are not so simple as cut girls off the moment they reject you, or be a dog and super persist with girls, right? But generally, social circle is the place where persistence works a lot better because you get more chances with girls, and they can hear things about you that will change their mind about you. Because, like, obviously what this girl ended up claiming is why she didn't have sex with me that night, and is because when we were about to fuck, like, she was on top of me straddling me, and then she's like, actually, I'm gonna leave. And I was like, okay. What she ended up claiming was that before she was about to fuck me, I was going to be her 10th guy that she had sex with. And she felt really weird about hitting that number 10, right? And so that's why she was second guessing whether we should have sex or not. Well, then apparently she ends up having the 10th guy, and then kind of, like, loses her ego about it, and then goes, whatever, I think you're hot and I want to fuck you. So whatever. And then also, I was fucking her sorority sister, who was hot, and, I mean, it was my ex-girlfriend, but we'd kind of gotten back together, and then I hooked up with some other girl. She probably heard about it, and so, and then I show up at the place, at the random house party, and then she sees me, and I'm talking to a bunch of girls and talking to people, and so, clearly whatever she had, like, said and put dirt on my name wasn't strong enough to destroy my reputation, right? Because people were still accepting of me. So all these factors kind of like went in. Now, is she a bad person? Well, yeah, right? Clearly she has I think she has borderline personality disorder, but that's not an excuse, right? But like there's other factors that are making her change her mind about me, right? Now that's a wild, crazy, fringe example, but the factors that will lead to like persistence working will are still there, right? But with these two stories, right, of girls fucking me again, they actually did the work to get back with me, right? So I was properly basically like not showing interest enough, and then they had changed their mind about me, and then they ended up chasing me, right? So in fact, it was almost kind of like the opposite of persistence, right? Like I lost interest, but I was still in the place for it to happen. But that's social circle, right? So cold approach persistence is a little bit different. Like I said, though, with girls who like just ignore you and you don't have anything with them, very, very rare. Because like the one situation where I remember the most was I did end up having sex with this particular girl. And then after we had sex, she was kind of interested in a relationship, and I made it clear I wasn't. And so after we had sex, she just ghosted me. And it was weird because we had a great connection, but I kind of understood that she probably compartmentalized it as, okay, that's a hookup. I don't want to keep seeing him because, you know, I really like him. And so, but I mean, to me, she was like a 10, right? And also just there was something about her that just drove me crazy. Like I was so attracted to her. I busted inside of her the first time we had sex, twice. I came inside of her, and I came very quickly because I was just like, oh my God, you're so fucking hot to me. And then she breaks my heart by not returning my text. I'm like, bitch, I busted a nut inside of you, right? Like that means something. And so like I was totally okay with her randomly getting pregnant. She was that hot that I was like, I don't care. Even though she had red flags out the wazoo, I was like, I accept that if I impregnate you, it's okay because we're gonna have a gorgeous baby. And I ended up texting her a couple times over the next months. And she's responding, but like every time I try to hang out, she like either ignores that text or she's like, I'll let you know. Finally, I end up waiting like 1 month or 2 months, and then around Christmas time, I hit her up and I'm like, hey, happy holidays, da-da-da. And we get into another conversation. And then finally, the conversation leads to her wanting to see me again. And so I end up going back to her place, and then we end up having sex again. And she's very, very excited. She's like, are you still my poppy? Da-da-da. I'm like, okay, oh my God, you know, just losing my mind. Like, this girl, like, made me so horny. And so then we become friends of benefits. And we end up, you know, hooking up a half a dozen more times over the next, you know, couple months. But there's some context there. We had already slept together. The issue wasn't that she wasn't attracted to me. The issue was more of I think she wanted a relationship, and whereas I was kind of in my full bloom fuckboy phase, but I actually would have dated her. Like I liked her enough that I wanted to date her, but I knew it would be a bad idea because she had a bunch of red flags. But I couldn't deny that I had the feelings to want to date her. But there's some context there, right? Like we had already fucked, and then she was also responding to me. She'd eventually ghost at some point, but she was responding to me. So again, there has to be some sort of some sort of a spark. But if you're thinking persistence means like this girl's not responding, and then I text her again and again and again and again over weeks and months, and then finally she responds, can that happen? Sure. I can't remember off the top of my head when that has worked for me. I'm sure there's some situations where it has worked, but I don't think I ever remember it getting me laid, to my knowledge. Right? God, what's another situation? Oh, I remember it, like in California, I work at a club, and I walked by this other restaurant or bar, and the hostess outside was really cute. End up talking to her, end up getting her phone number, or I give her my number. She writes it down on her like hostess pad, whatever. Never ends up texting me. Weeks later, I walk by again and I see her, and we start chatting up again. And then this time I say, "You give me your number," and she's like, "Okay." And then we end up going on a date, and I end up fucking her, raw dog her on the beach, actually. That was crazy. She had a fucking tattoo under her boobs that said "Pain is good." Like, oh man, very interesting characters. But good sex though. I mean, I enjoyed it. So that worked. That was persistence. That was in person persistence, right? So yeah. I mean, can persistence work? Sure, but I don't think you want to build this habit of just like robotically persisting with every single girl that you fail with. And I also wouldn't I wouldn't persist with girls unless you really like them. Like the type of persistence where you just like randomly see her again and start talking to her, sure, whatever. If she's cute, whatever. But if you're texting her, like the girl who I mentioned, the Mexican girl who I busted a nut in, she was like, I was crazy about her. So yeah, I'm gonna persist with her. I really like her. But should you be persisting with a girl that doesn't get you going? No, I don't think there's any reason to. It'll just create this dynamic where you're like randomly putting in way too much energy with a girl who is, you're treating her like she's a 10, but she isn't. You're just doing it. Why? For the ego, or because you want to stick your dick inside something, right? It creates a dynamic where you are kind of seeing girls as just notches on a bedpost. Like, I just need to get the lay. That's not healthy, right? You don't want to see women as like, okay, I got to get a +1, a +1, a +1. That's very unhealthy, and it's actually going to hurt your chances of dating, because unless you're a complete fucking psychopath, it's going to come through in the way that you behave. Like, you seeing her as just like, okay, this is just another lay. Like, it's going to be clear in the way that you treat her and talk to her. Like, your behavior is you're half-assing it, right? Like, you don't seem sincerely interested in her. I mean, you are interested in her, but not to the degree that she wants. All right? So it seems incomplete, insincere, and that's just naturally unattractive, right? My policy is that you show the energy to a woman to the degree that you like her. And so if you don't, you're not really crazy about her, then the amount of energy you should put in, you can still want to have sex with her. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. You're not objectifying her in that sense. It's just like the difference between objectification and just seeing someone as you just want to have sex with them. Because if just wanting to have sex with someone is objectifying them, that's, I mean, again, everyone is objectifying each other to a certain extent. I can recognize someone is, for me, I guess the only value they have in the world is like, because I'm not interested in a business relationship with them. I'm not interested in a romantic relationship. I'm not interested in a mentorship, right? Like, the only reason I'm talking to this person is because I want to have sex with them. It only becomes objectification if you are doing it with this spirit of like a mechanical, I just got to get through these steps so that I can have sex with them. And it's just like, I'm doing it for the achievement. I'm not doing it for the enjoyment. And I don't care about them at all, right? Like, I can see that someone, I only want to have sex with them. Like I said, they're probably not going to be my best friend or, my girlfriend or my wife or whatever. That's okay. But I still understand they're a person. Like, there's a distinct difference between these two approaches. And it's very clear in the way you behave and the way you think. Like, I still understand they're a person. I'm still interested in them as a person, right? I still want to get to know them. It's just not my only real priority is to have sex with them. Now, you shouldn't be doing this too much because it will turn you into a kind of a reckless hedonist, right? But if on occasion, you know, you meet a girl and you guys have like a connection that's purely sexual, okay, that's fine, right? But it should not be your primary drive. That's when it gets unhealthy. And so if you're out there overly persisting with every single girl because of your ego, like you have to feed your ego to constantly get a +1, that's when things start to become unhealthy. And then I think it creates a bad habit where you're reinforcing an achievement-based mindset, which is not very healthy, right? There's always going to be a part of you that is driven by achievement if you're that kind of personality, right? Different people are motivated by different things. But don't make it the number one reason, right? Your time would be better spent, instead of sending that text, even though it takes 2 minutes to write that text to persist, that energy would be better spent on someone who you actually really like, right? And usually when it comes to like success ratios, if a girl's not responding or if a girl's flaking on you and being inconsistent, a lot of times it is actually better to just cut the bait, right? And just move on to another girl and just do better with the next girl. Don't make the same mistake that you made with this girl, if it was a mistake you made. So yeah, that was a wild, tangential, digressive story, but hopefully I covered a lot of the nuance here, right? Like all these different stories had different little like reasons for me persisting. Like with the crazy chick, I didn't want to persist with her. In fact, that was the opposite of what I wanted, but that actually helped in that situation. With the other girl, I did want to persist with her, the one who put her hand on my leg and was like, hey, I'm having an after party, come over. Of course I wanted to have sex with her, right? But I realized that showing too much interest wasn't really the move there. And then with the Mexican girl who I was dumping loads in, like I really wanted to see her, but again, I had to do it the right way. Or with my client, the one who he hasn't yet gotten with that influencer girl who kind of spread the rumor that he's a fuckboy, but the best way to go about it was he's fucked these two girls in her kind of either direct social circle or tangential social circles. Social circles. He's going to eventually run into her again. Or she might even hit him up. I would not put it past her texting him randomly. Because even one of her close friends was texting him and being somewhat flirtatious. And that's always a good sign. So, and that I think will be much better revenge than, just saying, fuck this bitch. So I guess my main points that I'm trying to get here is like, don't turn this into some ego thing where you're like, if this girl doesn't respond, like she's not recognizing I'm the man. That's too much. Like, she doesn't know you. Like, she doesn't owe you all this, like, these expectations that you have about her. At the same time, you do need to adapt appropriately. Like, give her some of the same energy she's giving you. So if she's giving you cold 0% interest, you need to reflect that and give her no interest and just give up. If she's giving you 10% interest, then only put 10% persistence in. If it's a case where you can tell she's really interested and there's proof of it, like you guys like, oh, she sucked your dick, you guys fucked, something, right? There's just something else that's a barrier in the way, then, you have to navigate that. And that's completely contextual. It depends on the situation. But yeah, that's like my thesis on being persistent. Very interesting. I didn't expect to get into that one story, that college story from my college book, but it's a wild one. Anyways, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope that answers some questions. And yeah, Links in the description if you're interested in getting my texting book or my day game course. And then if you're interested in coaching, you can sign up for a consultation. Like I said, I'm still taking one client. So if you're interested, like I said, sign up. All right, cool. Love you guys. Bye.